Hey everyone, you probably already know this, but Smash Ultimate is messed up. If Street Fighter is chess, then Smash is 3D checkers on Adderall. And I don't think anything proves that more than R.O.B, a character I can only describe as a product of Sakurai's twisted vision. Only in Smash could you find a full-screen zoner who has amazing frame data, great throws, and also multiple completely true instant death combos, and also you can literally fly. In terms of playstyle, this makes R.O.B a projectile zoner, rushdown, brawler, grappler combo sortie, because you see, the word archetype only applies to beings of flesh and blood. Robots get to be everything at once, kinda like how those cool robot dogs are great at both recording cute TikTok videos and enforcing a dystopian surveillance state. Clearly robots have versatility, and R.O.B is no exception. And yet, despite this fact, the R.O.B mains will tell you a different story. The story of a character who is fair and balanced, even overrated, because of his numerous weaknesses, such as being big, having a big hurt box, and being large. So today, let's take a closer look at this faceless plastic abomination, from his place in the meta to his game plan, strengths, and weaknesses. That part's pretty quick, but yeah, we'll talk about his 3 best moves and how to beat him, and finally, we will try real hard to find within ourselves compassion, even for the R.O.B mains of the world. So sit back, down tilt that subscribe button, and get ready for the truth about R.O.B. First off, his place in the meta. R.O.B is good. If you happen to enjoy winning, you might want to check him out. But it's interesting, because the story of a typical projectile-heavy character in modern Smash games is that they see some early success, but then they get power crept once Nintendo decides to milk us for DLC money by releasing a bunch of characters with superpowers. I'm talking big hitboxes, comeback mechanics, the ability to play Minecraft. That sort of thing makes it hard for projectile characters to keep up. Stats-wise, you can see this happening pretty clearly with Villager, whose results have declined over time, in no small part thanks to some awful DLC matchups. But then there's R.O.B. You see, after the last couple fighters released, the full fury of DLC top tiers was unleashed on Smash Ultimate, including characters that destroy a lot of zoners, like Hero, Pyramithra, Joker, Sephiroth, and this guy. So naturally, R.O.B, a projectile character, responded to all this by being number 1 in results for 9 months in a row. Because you see, R.O.B does not get power crept. R.O.B is the power. And while he might not be winning a ton of majors, you'd be hard-pressed to find a character more common than R.O.B in top 8s. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking this paints R.O.B as a heroic figure fighting back against the DLC onslaught. But don't worry, everyone still hates him. However, and this is important, they actually do hate him less than Steve, which I think puts R.O.B in a great position. If you want all the benefits of playing a broken top tier without getting called too many slurs, R.O.B might be the pick. Next, let's talk about game plan. The ranges that R.O.B excels at are close range, long range, and mid range. Now, some of you may have noticed, that's all the ranges. And yeah. So R.O.B is a complex character with lots of projectiles and weird mechanics, but at the end of the day, the most important thing to know is that you can do 4 down tilts in 1 second, with time left over. This fact makes R.O.B so much more threatening, because it takes every grounded situation and adds this big, bright red, flashing down tilt button. Like, oh look, they're dashing back and forth, trying to bait out a reaction. What an intelligent strategy. I wonder how I should down tilt. Oh, they're blocking, but I don't know whether I should risk a grab or not. Maybe I should down tilt. And the best part is, it's not like down tilt just gets them away from you or something. On hit, down tilt rewards you with ridiculous combos and even tech chases that lead to kills, thanks to R.O.B's very workable run speed. That fact terrifies people for good reason, and they always have to worry about it. Basically, as R.O.B, your opponents can try to play fancy mind games all they want, but if you just hold down on your stick and mash A, it really limits what they're allowed to do. Now, while down tilt is amazing, other characters do have quick combo starters, and I mean, aside from the fact that R.O.B down tilt is kinda just better in frame data than all of them, even close range brawlers, what really makes this move unique is the rest of the character's kit. You see, R.O.B also has the tools of a projectile zoner in Gyro and Robo Beam, a fact which kinda changes everything. Together, these tools complement each other's weaknesses and let you control the pace of the game. First off is Gyro, Top, Beyblade, whatever you want to call it. In fact, I recently learned that in official Beyblade lore, Moses parted the Red Sea with a Beyblade. And just like that, Gyro lets R.O.B players part the sea of mid-tier mains in their quest for Elite Smash GSP. It might not be flashy, but in my opinion, Gyro is one of the best moves in the entire game, and it glues this character together. What makes it broken is that Gyro is incredibly fast for a projectile, coming out way quicker than any similar attack for some reason, and at high charge, traveling most of the stage before it's even possible to react. Gyro is an item though, which means attacks can pick it up and most characters can jump over it easily. And that, of course, is where your other two amazing full-screen projectiles come in. Life isn't fair, folks. Robo Beam is much slower and weaker than Gyro, but it passes straight through all attacks and can be angled in whatever direction you want. It is weak, but if you leave it alone for 20 seconds, it becomes the Big Beam, name not official, traveling slower but getting bigger and dealing over 3 times the damage. Fun fact, it does like 30% damage up close, and combos. Fun. But yeah, learning how to balance all these projectiles is one of the most important skills you can learn as a R.O.B player, and it's one of the only things about this character that requires at least 2 brain cells. Certified try-hard strategies include bouncing beams off the ground to mix up their timing, reversing Gyro off platforms for tricky movement, and charging Gyro 8 spins instead of 9 to make it travel faster and get stronger, because of course that's a thing. And yes, if you master all these projectile mix-ups, R.O.B becomes a character that excels at every single range. Normally, having a tool like down tilt makes people want to run away from you because of course, they don't want to get down tilted. But if you watch a lot of R.O.B matches, you'll find that top players are always running towards R.O.B instead. The threat of your projectiles forces smart opponents to pick the lesser of 2 evils and fight you at a distance where you get to use your amazing close range options, which you'll notice is a trait shared by quite a few top tiers in Smash Ultimate, and it really makes you wonder how many slow characters would be amazing if only they had a way to make their opponent's approach. Which brings me to the real point of this video, which is please give Ganondorf the Warlock Glock. Anyway, on top of all these crazy R.O.B tools, there's actually a whole other broken layer to this character's neutral. R.O.B's aerial attacks, like his fast forward air, his strong back air, and his nair, which is probably one of the most infamous aerials in this entire game. And for any of you who are blissfully unaware of the crimes constantly committed by R.O.B's neutral air, to put it simply, someone was very drunk when they programmed this thing, and we Smash players are left to deal with the dramatic consequences. R.O.B Nair is a disjointed, long-ranged move that's active for a long time, covers every angle, has almost no lag, and it leads to kill combos with Gyro and R.O.B's unnecessarily strong side B. The only downside to Nair is that it's kinda slow, so R.O.B is vulnerable before it comes out, and if you're quick, you can parry Nair if you see it coming. Which of course is perfect game design, because nothing bad could possibly come from making a spammable move where the counterplay is an extremely precise reaction, and if you screw it up once you die instantly. Nothing bad could come from that. Unless of course there were some kind of condition, some kind of crazy, wacky environment where your reaction time was slower. That would suck. But thankfully that kind of delayed reaction hellscape is purely hypothetical and not the way that most people play the game. Yeah, sorry about that. For a second there, I just wanted to fantasize about a world where Smash Ultimate Online wasn't run off 4 potato batteries connected in parallel in the back of the Nintendo break room. Cause R.O.B Nair is already really good offline, but when you add any amount of online lag into the mix, this move becomes, let's just say it gets better, and it's a huge part of why people hate fighting R.O.B online. I figured it was important to at least mention the offline parry thing, since it is very helpful in an optimal tournament environment. But the truth is, most of us aren't exactly playing Smash in an optimal tournament environment most of the time. We are in the Wi-Fi trenches, and this move is our greatest fear. Now to frame that from a different perspective, when you play as R.O.B online, spam Nair. Just spam the hell out of it. I certainly do, and folks, it works wonders. But wait, if R.O.B spams Nair, but his opponent keeps blocking, R.O.B can't kill them with Nair combos. Sometimes they can even punish him before he gets another Nair out. When I play as R.O.B, fighting someone with good defensive play against Nair can be annoying, because it almost requires me to exert actual mental energy to keep up. Thankfully, of course, on top of all these nutty moves I just described, R.O.B also has a quick grab, with 4 separate combo throws, and also one of them's a kill throw. And also, if he's holding Gyro, he can use down B to just put the item away and grab people. Did I mention that R.O.B is good? So yeah, if R.O.B's opponent gets too careful around his other tools and starts to shield too much, his grab is always a threat, which is a big contrast with some of the other neutral heavy characters in this game, like Duck Hunt, who gets no reward off grab. Not to mention that once you get grabbed, trying to DI R.O.B down throw up air properly is basically one of the 7 great minigames of Smash Ultimate. If breaking Steve blocks is our puzzle bonus stage, and running away from Arsene is our survival horror minigame, then this is Smash Ultimate's take on a quick time event. To survive R.O.B up air, you're supposed to hold down and away from R.O.B, but depending on his drift, you can just get sent to the other side and explode, and it depends on your character, so all I have to say here is you need to fight R.O.B enough times as your main to get a feel for when to switch your DI. Or alternatively, just do what Kirby Kid does and learn to mash buttons so fast you make R.O.B down throw not exist, because that's a thing, apparently. Anyway, this sort of web of ridiculous moves I've been talking about. R.O.B down tilt, which makes his projectiles better, which in turn make his aerials better, which all make his grab better, and so on. That's more or less how I see R.O.B's neutral game. And the reason I spent so much time talking about that neutral is that I really want to show that it's the strongest feature of R.O.B as a character. Even most other top tiers can't claim to control every single range like R.O.B can. And that's why if you play R.O.B and you use your tools well, you can make people feel like they're losing as soon as the game says go. Now, as a person fighting against R.O.B, your job here is not easy, but it's also not impossible. You see, R.O.B can control any range at any given time, but he can't control every range at once. You can't shoot a projectile and down tilt at the same time. That's why people who understand how to fight R.O.B will try to use movement to make the R.O.B player guess wrong. They'll pretend to play defensively, then jump or dash shield right up to R.O.B as he throws a projectile, making it unsafe on block. Or they'll feint an approach, then outrange or jump over his down tilt. And yes, I am basically telling you to solve an advanced calculus equation to stop R.O.B from solving the Fisher-Price silly sounds animal puzzle, but this is Smash Ultimate, and as you know, that's just how we do things here. Also, don't knock the Fisher-Price silly sounds animal puzzle, that shit is hard. Steve made, by the way. So, we talked a lot about neutral, but what happens when someone actually gets that big hit? For R.O.B, it depends. If he's holding his gyro in hand and you're at low percent, a lot of the time, you kinda just die, which is not fun for you. It's very fun for the R.O.B player, though, speaking from experience, just thought you should know that. As for actual combo routes, though, there's too many to list, but as a general rule, remember this helpful phrase. Do not get hit by ledge, or you are f***ing dead. You see, these combos often involve non-tumble hit stun, which means your character isn't sent into that tumble animation where you have to tech afterwards. And in Smash Ultimate, if you don't get sent into tumble, you can't DI. So there's pretty much nothing you can do if you get hit by one of these combos near ledge. But if you're closer to the center of the stage, at least it's hard for R.O.B to pick a combo route that actually kills you. Now, aside from those kill combos, R.O.B has a couple less insane win conditions too. Most of all, R.O.B wants to get you off stage, where he's amazing at edge guarding. He can, of course, chuck tons of projectiles at you, he has arm rotor to beat no hitbox recoveries, but the absolute scariest thing is his down air. Now, let's play a fun game of Spot the Difference. Can you see what makes R.O.B down air different from other down airs? As you can see, R.O.B down air is slower, so I'm sure it's totally fine and balanced. R.O.B is also known for his nutty ledge traps with tools like gyro, arm rotor, and his aerials, and even if you get through all of that, he's still R.O.B and you're still in the corner. So I hope I've established that first off, it's hard to not get hit by R.O.B, and second off, getting hit by R.O.B is bad. But what about the third option? What happens if you hit him? The answer is that you finally get to have some fun, because now we're going to talk about R.O.B's weaknesses. And you have no idea how much they had to bribe me to make that word plural. But like I was saying, R.O.B is pretty broken in a lot of ways, but thankfully for everyone else, you just can't fit all that brokenness into a small package unless you're Pikachu. Which brings me to R.O.B's one big flaw. R.O.B is big. Very big. He is a big character, and he has a big hurt box. And I'm serious, that is a big problem. It does have an impact in every part of gameplay. Being easy to hit is a serious liability in a game as freeform as Smash, whether it's escaping combos, getting off ledge, or even just trying to avoid other characters' attacks in neutral. R.O.B struggles bigly compared to small hurtbox characters. What this means is that landing a combo starter on R.O.B is honestly one of the most fun things you can do in this game, because all the quirky little training mode combos you practiced, they work now. And if you look closely, a lot of matchups that R.O.B players complain about are matchups where an already good combo game becomes something terrifying. And this can allow unconventional characters to shine against him. For example, Mii Brawler gets a very long-lasting kill confirm off grab, and Bayonetta gets to play Smash 4. Still, no matter how hard he gets comboed, R.O.B is R.O.B, and a lot of characters are seriously gonna struggle against him. Especially because if you don't kill him directly with that true combo or frame trap, R.O.B gets to recover by flying. As you're probably aware, R.O.B gets to fly using gas, which recharges on the ground, and I get what they're going for with this. I think it's actually very interesting that R.O.B is sort of Smash Ultimate's version of a cooldown character with 2 specials that charge automatically. But I also gotta say, R.O.B sure has a lot of fuel, Sakurai. A lot of gas in that robot, buddy. And it's funny, because as a R.O.B player, you can actually stall out timed buffs like Monado Arts, Deep Breathing, or Arsene in the top blast zone, and there's not a whole lot they can do in response. You're just above the field of play, which on one level, like, that's messed up, but on another level, it's really funny, and also, those characters kind of deserve it, so R.O.B gets a pass here from me. But the reason I brought up Up B and fuel is because, yes, if you can keep hitting R.O.B off stage until he runs out of fuel, he will die. And I just thought about it, and I think that might count as another weakness. Definitely a weakness with a lowercase w, but I still figured it was worth putting here. So that's 2 whole weaknesses, folks, and I think that's everything. But you know what? Maybe you can help me find a third R.O.B weakness by slapping that subscribe button. Oh, see? There it is. At low percent, Rising Fair and Down Tilt are so weak that they're actually unsafe on hit, which is very bad. But, I mean, Down Tilt also has an exactly 27% chance to just trip you, which makes it combo into whatever R.O.B wants. Yes, you heard me correctly. Random tripping is extremely important for R.O.B in Smash Ultimate. So I guess that low knockback thing is only a weakness 73% of the time when it doesn't trip, which I think brings us up to 2.73 R.O.B weaknesses. I'm confused. But wait, stop the presses, because my team of dedicated anti-R.O.B scientists have just announced they may have discovered the secret final R.O.B weakness. You see, R.O.B back air is a strong and useful kill move, so much so that there's a PG stats video specifically on Zamba's great usage of it. And yeah, in terms of raw kill power, the move is insane. Jumping into this thing is like jumping into the TwitchCon foam pit. But to compensate for that power, R.O.B's bear is actually one of the slowest aerials out there, taking almost a full third of a second to come out. And I will say that when you play R.O.B, you do feel the lack of a very quick, safe kill move like many other top tiers have. It can lead to situations where R.O.B's opponents live to very high percentages because they keep interrupting his slow back air, and the forward airs, nairs, down tilts, and projectiles he does hit don't lead to stocks. This means that truly strong R.O.B players have to be masters of pushing their opponents to the corner and making back air reads that have great risk reward. So there you have it. I don't know if that particular thing is like a weakness so much as something that's slightly less horrifying about him. I mean, it's kind of like saying one of Mark Zuckerberg's big weaknesses is that he has less billions of dollars than Jeff Bezos. But you know, let's just throw the R.O.B mains a bone here and say he has 3.73 weaknesses. And I guess you could also say his out of shield options aren't amazing, but up smash is pretty fast, and honestly, anyone with those aerials does not get to complain, so let's just end the weaknesses there. And now it's time for the cheat sheet, folks, because here are R.O.B's 3 best moves and how to beat them. First off, down tilt. If you have a quick out of shield option, frame 7 or faster like Cloud Up B, you can actually use it to interrupt R.O.B in between 2 down tilts. This will force R.O.B to pick a defensive option after down tilting instead of just mashing it like usual, which in turn will let you go on the offensive. Now, if you don't happen to be blessed with a quick out of shield option like Cloud, don't panic. Simply roll or jump away from those down tilts on your shield to reset to neutral. Then you can use your movement to make R.O.B guess wrong on where you're gonna be. For example, you can trick him into down tilting while you've already got a landing aerial or long ranged attack ready. Now, if you don't have a fast out of shield option, and your character is too slow to bait people with movement, again, don't panic. Listen carefully. You're gonna wanna hop online and order a 1-gallon water jug, preferably with an easy carry handle, and you're gonna want to bring it with you and drink from it periodically when you play. You'll still lose to R.O.B every time, but at least now your tears won't dehydrate you. Next up, gyro, and it's the same idea with the movement. It's a great move, but it's not perfect. If R.O.B shoots gyro at your shield and you're too close, it's actually very unsafe. And if you jump over gyro, it'll spin on the ground behind you and R.O.B can't use it for a while. That's useful, because a lot of people tend to block gyro too much from far away, which would be a great strategy in a world where this game makes sense, but sadly, blocking gyro just lets R.O.B chuck out another one immediately. Also, don't assume that gyro won't be fast just because it isn't fully charged. For some reason, as I mentioned, gyro is actually faster and more damaging just before it's fully charged, so watch R.O.B carefully to see how fast it's gonna come flying at you. Finally, if you manage to pick Gyro up for yourself, there's actually a whole world of item tech and combos you can use to make R.O.B's life way more difficult. So I'll link my item tech guide in the description if you want to dive into the untold horrors lurking within this game's item mechanics and make them work for you. And of course, nair. So as I said, in an ideal world, you'd parry this move a lot and stop it from being broken. But even offline, you can't always parry it, and it's good to have lots of different options saved up. Instead, if you see nair coming, try meeting R.O.B with an aerial before it comes out, or shielding the nair and either punishing it if R.O.B did it too early, or getting a read on what he does afterward. Finally, and this is critical, you can also swap out the Nintendo Switch for a Wii U when nobody's looking, and R.O.B won't be top tier anymore. Next, we have Arm Rotor. That's right, R.O.B is so broken that his 3 best moves, yeah, he has 4 of them. This one's the scary spin move, and it kills like a lawnmower bought off Wish. But here's the thing, if R.O.B is spamming Arm Rotor at ledge, and you keep getting hit by it, that's on you, because it probably means you're doing ledge options at the same timing. Side B can cover roll, neutral get up, and jump all at once, but only if R.O.B knows what timing you'll get off ledge. So aside from the obvious counterplay, which is get up attack, don't be afraid to hang at ledge for a bit and wait for R.O.B to arm rotor. There's no reason to be scared until he starts forcing you off ledge with other moves which won't cover as many options as arm rotor does. And of course, if you block this move, it's extremely unsafe, so make R.O.B suffer for it. I see too many R.O.Bs spamming this move online, but it's fake. Don't let him get away with it. The only moves R.O.B is allowed to spam online are nair, down tilt, gyro, laser, back air, forward air. So now, all that remains to be answered is my final question. How do we find it within ourselves to grow as people and find compassion for R.O.B players even when they complain about their top tier on Twitter? And as a recovering R.O.B main myself, I hope to give you some insight that will help you treat these poor R.O.B players with humanity and dignity. You see, playing R.O.B can kinda suck sometimes, and I mean that seriously. He's a character that gives you every tool you need to win neutral, and for his opponents that's absolutely terrifying. But like I mentioned, against players who know how to mash well, mix up their recoveries, and avoid his key kill moves and setups, R.O.B can struggle to take your stock once he gets you to high percent, because his best kill moves in neutral are slow and require a read to KO. And because R.O.B's hurtbox makes him so easy to combo and kill confirm, it really can be frustrating when you get a character like Captain Falcon or Kazuya to 150% only for them to end your entire stock with one combo. Not to mention, being big causes you to get hit by so many projectiles and stray attacks that you saw coming, but they catch you anyway because Smash Ultimate hitboxes are jump scares. But then again, there is a big fact I'm kinda overlooking here, because no matter what happens, you're still playing R.O.B, right? It's still R.O.B, and I cannot stress this enough, you only got them to high percent in the first place by playing R.O.B. I swear, it's like this character is built to give you an unfair advantage, and then get you accustomed to that unfair advantage so that it feels really unfair to you whenever something goes wrong. And nobody is immune to this. I remember once I was making a comeback on a Palutena player, and I got this BS gyro zero death combo to bring it to last stock. But then I died to the special down throw back air confirm she has on R.O.B, and at first I was like, damn, that's so unfair, but then I thought about it a bit more, and I was like, wow, I think this is how rich people feel when you try to tax them. So the next time you see a R.O.B player complain about R.O.B, just try to stay strong and recognize that the player themselves isn't at fault for this. When they say that R.O.B sucks or that they lose 20 matchups, instead of engaging in scorched earth Twitter warfare, take a deep breath and remember that we are all only human and no one is immune to cognitive biases. Not you, not me, and especially not R.O.B players. And as a final note, I gotta say, it's not all bad. Because when R.O.B works, he can actually look way cooler than any projectile character has any right to be. Thanks to the sheer insanity of just how many tools and archetypes he combines, I think R.O.B is one of the most expressive characters in terms of individual playstyles. In top-level play, you have the flashy and perfectly optimized gyro combos of Anathema, the lightning-fast option coverage and zombears of Zomba, the way WhyDo barely does combos or tech, and R.O.B just seems to be the vessel through which he manifests. The more you learn about how R.O.B works, the more you notice the creativity he has to offer, and for all my armchair trash talk about game design, I really do think that's a point in R.O.B's favor. And of course, I mean, aside from the whole getting comboed thing, R.O.B is just fun to play, you know? It's fun to kill people at zero. And, I mean, like, when you press down an A, which one of these outcomes looks more fun to you? This or this? I think the answer is pretty clear, so if you're on the fence, this character is definitely worth a shot. Now get the hell out there and turn quick play into battle bots. So there you go. That's the truth about R.O.B, or as much of it as we pathetic carbon-based meatbags are capable of understanding. So whether you're a R.O.B main, a R.O.B hater, or part of some hypothetical third category I haven't encountered yet, I hope this video could shine some light on this miraculous boxing zoner. By the way, when reached out for comment on this video, Zomba responded with the following statement: "He is very broken." That's the whole statement. So clearly, some R.O.B players do know what's up. And last thing, I'm thinking of making this a series where I explore this flawless game's perfectly balanced top tiers. So if you got feedback or just want to share a character you really hate in particular, let me know in the comments below. Aside from Steve, of course, that's a free space. So as always, stay safe, subscribe, and see you next time.